So it's the rare matchmaker interview, which is always fun to do. I'm excited to bring you in, Rich, man. Listen, let's just talk first off before we get into the rankings, which is I know what we really want to talk about. Man, what's this period been like for you guys over at Bellator? It's been a little bit of a period of peace, right? You had a little bit of a hiatus to start the year, but we're about to get hot and heavy. So I imagine as peaceful as it's been on the outside, it's probably been a whole lot going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, these breaks are nice, especially we all know how crazy the fight business is with all the travel and just, you know, this is a business that never sleeps, as you know. And so it is nice when you do get a break, man. But yeah, we're chomping at the bit and so excited to get going. We've been working hard on a lot of things, including the ranking system that we'll talk about here shortly. But a lot's been going on behind the scenes. You saw Scott, Steven Espinoza, and all of our fighters get introduced a few weeks ago with that Showtime announcement. So there's been a lot going on, and man, we just can't wait till April to get these fights going and do what we love to do.
Yeah, big changes in terms of broadcast platform, and you got Grand Prix coming up, which I know everybody's excited about that. But we are here to talk about the rankings. So I did want to ask you, we'll see the initial rankings later this month. The announcement has already been made that they're coming. But I want to ask you, I mean, how did this all come together? And I guess kind of what was the motivation behind it, right? Because this is a lot of work. I mean, I've seen what you guys have already done already. There's a whole lot to be done to it. So I guess what was the drive to say this is something we need, or at the very least, this is something we want to have?
Great question. You know, Scott, a few weeks ago at that presser that I just mentioned, you know, he said something, you know, he came out and made a very bold and big statement, and that was that this roster that we currently have is the best, most talented, and deepest roster we've ever had. And I think that was really why we felt like now is the time to put this ranking system together. So it really just revolved around all the amazing fighters we have, and all the talent we have, and the depth in the various divisions we have here. So that was the main reason. No better time than now.
Yeah, you guys are making some big moves in the roster. And it's funny. I mean, you guys have been building this thing for a long time. I know how much effort you've put in behind the scenes, but it really does seem like it's all kind of paying off and coming together now. So for those that haven't seen it, and I know the documents that you guys sent out, we were told, hey, it's fine. This is fine for public consumption. But there was a lot of work put into this. Can you give us an idea of like how long you guys have kind of been thinking about this and what process you took to get to where you are?
Yes, it definitely didn't happen overnight. A lot of departments involved, a lot of brainstorming sessions. You know, you and I both know how unpredictable the fight business is. So we tried our best to go over as many different scenarios as possible, and just, you know, come up with ways to anticipate certain issues that could come up. And even then, you know, you're not going to cover it all, and you just hope that your instinct and years of experience collectively with our teams can help us figure out and address those issues when we get there. But yeah, it took a lot. And on top of that, selecting the right people for this was also something we wanted to take our time with and make sure that we did properly, that we got the guys that we wanted, because there's a lot of responsibility for all parties here. You know, you're one of the members, of course, and you, along with 16 others, I mean, really are the guys that are going to help dictate and shape and guide our fans, our fighters, and, you know, the promotion in general moving forward. So definitely wanted to take our time and do it right. So a total team effort, various departments coming together, a lot of brain power, a lot of hours just going over all the crazy things that can happen in the fight game.
Yeah, you know, I've talked about it to some people. I've had some people reach out to me behind the scenes and ask, you know, hey, John, I know you're a part of this. Why did you elect to take part in it? And just to be clear and open and honest, I was just impressed with the transparency of the guys, of what you guys did put together. I mean, the guidelines that you had in place, to me, you know, I didn't see anything that, you know, offered any concerns for me in terms of taking part. So I think you guys really are to be commended for the effort you put in and to trying to have very, direct guidelines. As you said, not everything can be anticipated. I'm sure there'll be some things that pop up along the way that we have to address, but I do think you guys deserve to be commended for the way that you structured the whole thing, because it made it very easily, transparent and accessible. So I did want to ask how it affects your position, right? Because I've heard arguments on this both ways, right? Like on the one hand, it could make your job way easier as a matchmaker, right? I mean, people got numbers next to their names. It's logic, we dictate it. It's easy. But I've also heard the argument that, hey, it might make your job a little bit tougher, because now you got guys saying, well, I got a number. I don't want to risk my number, for that guy, or I got to fight up, not down. So have you thought about that yet? I mean, I guess you're yet to see it in practice, but have you thought about how this is going to impact your job and whether it's going to make it easier or it might make it more challenging?
Definitely. And I think you nailed it. It's, some days or after some events, and when a new when new rankings come out, it'll make it easier, and other times it'll make it a little trickier. But going back to what I said earlier, collectively we have a lot of experience on this side. I feel like the instinct we've developed over the years will just help us and guide us through those tricky situations. So we're prepared for it all, but yes, there are some challenges around the corner here, but yeah, we'll be ready for them. And look, at the end of the day, we just want to give the fans the best fights possible.
Are you worried at all about fighter blowback? I mean, it won't be anything you did, so I guess you can just put your hands in the air and say, hey, it's not my rankings, it's these media people. But are you worried at all about these rankings coming out and your phone blowing up all of a sudden? You're getting text messages and phone calls of fighters being like, why the hell am I in this position, or why am I not there? Oh yeah,
definitely. I'm looking forward, especially with this initial ranking coming up in a few weeks. I'm very curious to see. I'm going to be online that day for sure, and I'm certain we'll be tagged on all these comments and messages from fighters and fans, and quite honestly, that's very exciting. I think it's going to be a lot of fun just to start this whole new conversation here at Bellator with our fans, with our fighters, and just have fun with it.
Yeah. Here's a question I don't know if you guys have taught much about, but, you guys have shown over the past couple of years an affinity for Grand Prix, right? And I think people do like the tournament formats. Some luxury in how you structure these things in the past. What do you expect in future Grand Prix? Do you think these rankings will be a part in terms of like seeding for these Grand Prix, or do you try to leave yourself some flexibility in those?
I think some flexibility there would be good. I mean, you've seen us seed these tournaments in a few different ways, and we like to keep that option open. I know Scott said that before. We'll just huddle up again, take a look at who we have eligible and ready for the Grand Prix, and just kind of take it from there. But I think keeping that option open is probably something that we would like to do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you got a chance to put Anthony Johnson and Yoel Romero against each other, you don't worry about what the numbers next to the names might say, right? You got to put those fights together.
Yeah, I mean, right there when we sat down in the war room, Scott was like, "What do you think?" And I just said, "The fans have been waiting for us. We got to come out and give them what they want right off the bat, and here's that opportunity." And he agreed, of course. And here we are. And yeah, the day that fight was announced, it was, the fans spoke. They were loud and they were happy. So that made us thrilled.
Yeah, I got to co-sign on that one. It's like maybe it ends up being in the finals. Not sure it would be great, but why ruin the opportunity? When you can put a fight like that together, you got to do it, right?
Absolutely. We've said a few times already on this call, the unpredictability of this sport, of this game. Yeah, you got to strike while it's hot and while it's there. And Scott's known for that, and we just keep following that instinct.
That's awesome. Well, give me an idea, Rich. What I mean, obviously Scott is the one, at the helm, and he's the one with the general direction and making a lot of, big decisions and that sort of thing. But in terms of you personally, I mean, do you have goals for the organization? This seems like a very big year for Bellator. I mean, there's so many exciting things going on. Are there certain things that you want to see accomplished or that you hope to happen this year for the organization?
Yeah, it does feel like that. You know, it does feel like kind of this new chapter with Showtime, so to speak, and kind of this new era with this new matchmaking philosophy that we've been moving forward on. And you know, really pumped to get this light heavyweight Grand Prix going, and you know, we got to sit down and see what Scott wants to do for the next one. I think, you know, we got some really great options, some really tough divisions and deep divisions. So you know, what Grand Prix do we launch next? Just getting back on Showtime. I mean, just getting the band back together. A very familiar, fun feeling that has everyone excited, and certainly including us. Man, you know, we're just ready to keep putting on great fights, and we got some tricks up our sleeve that I can't really talk about quite yet. But you know, that's the name of the game. Try and keep the fans engaged by putting on the best fights, and every now and then throw you guys a nice little surprise.
Yeah. Well, I promised the boys over at PR we'd keep this thing to the rankings. The fans very rarely get to hear from the matchmaker, so I won't press you too far right now, so that in hopes that maybe we can get a few more of these down the line. But I guess the last thing I'll ask you is, what do you want people to know about the rankings? I mean, as you know, this thing is ready to get revealed and rolled out to the public. I mean, what is it that you want fight fans to know about? You know, the rankings themselves, the philosophy behind them, or just kind of where you guys stand as an organization?
Well, you know, it's clear that we didn't come up with the idea of rankings. Like, it's not something we invented, but I think we took a look at what was out there and what has been out there. We absorbed what we felt was useful and would work for us. We added some of our own little touches. And at the end of the day, I think we have an independent panel of experts. I'm sure you'll agree with that. But really, I mean, I saw some people asking why the media, and you know, I can't think of a more educated, unbiased group that is following what's going on in MMA today. You know, it certainly wasn't going to be coaches or fighters doing this. So, you know, that's why we decided to go with the media. The guys that follow this every day, that are up to speed with what's relevant and what's going on in not only in MMA, but obviously in Bellator. So having an independent system with experts on the panel to us was key. And I think we've achieved that. And obviously the criteria, adding some really strong criteria that covers, you know, that's really fair, that really covers a lot of different and anticipates a lot of different things that can happen, from, you know, new guys coming in, to guys being injured for an extended period of time, to guys changing weight classes. Like, we try to anticipate as much as we can to make this thing flow and make sense and be fair for everyone involved. So just want everyone to know that we really took our time and worked hard to put this thing together. And we've got what we feel is the best panel possible. And with those things, we feel very good about it, and can't wait to get this thing going.
Well said, man. I'm excited. I mean, look, nobody can argue that the Bellator roster right now is deeper than it's ever been, and I'm kind of excited to see where everybody comes out. You know what I mean? How do the final rankings, you know, stand up next to what I submit? And I'm kind of anxious to see how it all plays out. So appreciate you being willing to share a little bit on it, and hopefully we can do this again in the future someday.
Yes, sir. Thanks, John. Appreciate it, buddy.